On October 28, 2025, EASA issued a critical safety update for the Airbus H160-B helicopter. It's all centered on the Helionix avionics, and the potential risk here is pretty serious. So what's really going on, and what do you as an operator need to do about it? Let's break down Airworthiness Directive 2025-0242.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get into the backstory, why this AD exists at all. Then, we'll nail down exactly which helicopters are affected. After that, we'll dig into the technical fixes required, and finally, we'll look at the bottom line for your operations and budget.
Okay, so what kicked all of this off? Well, this wasn't just some theoretical risk someone found on a spreadsheet. This started with actual pilots reporting some really concerning problems while they were in the air.
Yeah, the issue was something that would make any pilot's blood run cold. Multiple cockpit displays just going blank, all at once. I mean, imagine you're flying and suddenly your key flight data and systems info just vanishes. That's what crews were experiencing, and it's the kind of thing that requires answers, fast. So the investigators started digging, and what they found was that the problem wasn't the displays themselves. The real root cause was a design flaw, buried deep inside the Helionix avionics suite. It was all about how it managed its internal Ethernet network. Turns out, this flaw made the whole system incredibly fragile, where even minor damage to a wire could cause a total MFD blackout.
And you don't have to take my word for how serious this is. EASA's own language is crystal clear and frankly pretty chilling. They state this could lead to reduced situational awareness for the pilot and possibly a loss of control of the helicopter. That right there is why this is a mandatory directive. Okay, so the risk is obviously huge, which brings us to the next big question for any operator. Are my helicopters on that list? Let's get really specific about which aircraft are covered by this AD. This directive applies only to the Airbus Helicopters H160-B. Now on the screen is the complete list of the serial numbers that are affected. If you're running any H160-Bs, this is a great time to just pause and cross-reference this list with your own fleet records. All right, let's get to the heart of it. What do you actually have to do? EASA has laid out a really clear two-phase plan to manage the immediate risk while everyone works toward a permanent fix. You can think of it like this. Phase 1 is all about these interim repetitive checks. They're like a safety net designed to catch any issues before they can cause a major incident. But that's just a temporary measure. Phase 2, the endgame, is the terminating modification. That's the permanent solution that gets rid of the root cause for good. Now, if you look at the timeline, you'll see this isn't exactly a new problem. Those interim actions kicked off way back in 2022. The most critical thing for operators right now is that recurring network check every 110 flight hours. But the big date on the calendar, the real finish line, is that final modification that has to be done by mid-2028. And for all you technical folks, your camo and maintenance teams, this is your playbook. Every single required action is directly linked to a specific Airbus Alert Service Bulletin. There's one for the repetitive checks, and then a couple for that final terminating action, which, by the way, involves both a software and a hardware change. So, we've covered the what and the how. It's time to tackle the question every manager is thinking about. What is this going to cost us, both in time and money? Because, let's be real, compliance is never free. Just think about the two different worlds here. Before you get that permanent fix installed, you are stuck in a cycle. You've got repetitive inspections, which means scheduled downtime and labor costs every 110 hours. And even worse, if a check finds a problem, you could be hit with some serious operational limits, like no flying in instrument conditions or at night. But after you do the terminating action, all of that just goes away. The checks are done, the limits are gone, and the aircraft is back to 100%.
And this really shows the burden, doesn't it? Until that final modification is done, every single affected H160-B is carrying this weight. You have predictable downtime from the inspections and the totally unpredictable risk of flight restrictions. It's a direct hit to your fleet's readiness and your ability to meet your mission.
And that really leads to the million-dollar question for every single operator of these H160-Bs. Is your team truly ready to handle every single stage of this AD, especially that final permanent fix? Okay, so let's wrap this up with your key takeaways. First, you have to ensure you are in full compliance with all the deadlines, no exceptions. Second, make sure your teams are talking to each other. Camo, maintenance, commercial, they all need to be perfectly aligned. And third, and this is the big one,
Start planning for that final HELIONIX V11 modification right now. Seriously, that 2028 deadline is going to be here way faster than you think. And as always, the official EASA and Airbus documents are your single source of truth for all the details.